Okay, what we're going to tie now is a Fairman's hitch. This is a hitch that's a quick release. It can be tied onto another rope or back onto itself. It can be any way. But first off, you start with a turn, and then you put the loop over top of the turn. Okay? Now, make sure you got enough loop here, because we're going to take this loop and we're going to start winding it around this orange loop. Okay? Now, however many loops you want, the more loops you put in it, the more it bites. Okay? So, just keep turning this, and then once you get to a point you feel like you have enough loops on it, you take this and put it in bite and run it through this. Then you tighten everything down, tend everything. And that is the sliding hitch. As we push it one way, this one has to be tended really well. It's hard to tend this one. It takes a few moments to get it to where it's in the correct position. But that is the Fairman hitch. It slides down when it's not under load. As soon as load is applied to it, it won't go nowhere. Also, this tag end here, you just pulls that loop through, and the knot capsizes. And that is the Fairman hitch. Now we're going to tie a Prusik loop, and it's a slide and grip type friction knot, and you can tie it with a loop like this, or you can tie it with just a straight line or on the end. So what you do is you put the loop over top of it, and you just start cinch that down a little, and you keep winding this around. However many loops you put onto it, the more loops you put onto it, the stronger it is. So you just keep weaving it through the center, tend it, cinch up all the loops. And that is a Prusik. And this is a slip shit. It can slide like this, all nice and easy, but as soon as you put load on this, if it's tended correctly, if your loops aren't tended real tight, and you got this thing cinched down and set real nice, it won't work. It will slip. But it slides up and down the line like this. But as soon as we pull on here, it's tight. And that is a slide and grip type friction hitch, and this is called the Prusik. Okay? And that's a Prusik in a loop. Very simple. That one's really simple. Then, if we're going to tie it with a line, take the line and we start wrapping. 1, 2, 3. We go over behind it. We go over top of it, underneath, and start wrapping loops right here. One more. Tend that all up nice. So the green coils are on the orange rope are nice and tight. They can't be loose, or this knot will not work. Okay? It does jam sometimes, but it's easy to untie. Now, if we were going to climb on this or needed this rope in work, we would leave a longer tail and we would tie a bowline right here. Put a loop in it and then sew it through and make a bowline. So in essence, this whole bottom part would be a loop. But this is the basic Prusik, and it's one of the most well-known friction hitches. So that was the Prusik in loop and at the end of the line. The next slide and grip hitch that we're going to tie is the Midshipmen's Hitch or the taut line hitch. It's also called the Mangus hitch or the Mangners hitch or rolling hitch. And this thing's been around a long time. The Midshipmen hitch was when sailors would fall off the ship, they would tail a long rope behind, and it's one of the few knots that they could tie while they were being dragged behind the ship. It was their last ditch effort before the ship sailed away because nobody turned around. No, the ship doesn't turn around for nobody. So that's one of the this is a Midshipmen's hitch. Come over the top and then wrap once around, kind of twice around on top of itself. See how I'm like stacking the coils on top of themselves? And then I come over here and do another half hitch back into the hole and like that. And that is a friction hitch. When it's tended down nicely, it slides up and down on the line, but when there's a load applied to it, it binds. So that's what everybody learned in Boy Scouts, and it's a primary friction hitch in my opinion. And that is the Midshipmen's Hitch, taut line, Mangus, whatever you want to call it. This is what's called a clem heist. It's also known as a machard or a French Prusik. I call it a clem heist. So what you do is we have a loop here, pretty long loop, and all you do is start wrapping around. We'll do a bunch of wraps on this one. So you leave a loop right here, start wrapping around, and you just keep wrapping the whole loop up the chain like this. And when you get to however many loops you want, you just put it back through this hole like this and cinch that down. And it starts to roll, and that is a clem heist. It's very strong, very easy, doesn't jam. It's a very good friction hitch for one direction. Very easy to untie. And that is considered a clem heist. These are the loops that I put in my pack. I usually have 12 or 18 loops like this, and I use this to put shelters up. So that's a clem heist or a machard or a French Prusik.